Chapter 5 Spiritual Lessons in the Camp. Everyone stood in line to say their goodbyes to Jesus. I said my goodbyes to sweet Mary. She wanted to stay, but her family would not allow it. I sat under the tree, contemplating the day's events. I had so many questions, but I was not afraid. The men who stayed with Jesus had gone to ensure that every woman made it safely home. Jesus was talking to an older woman. He walked over to me with her. I stood up to greet her. Sarah, this is Shaloma. She will be staying with us until we move further from town. I want you to feel comfortable with my family. My family are people who stay with my brothers, and now you, my sister. Thank you, Jesus. I have so many questions, I said, my voice filled with curiosity. He grinned warmly and nodded. I know you do. Let's talk while we wait for our brothers to return. He refilled our wine glasses. Jesus, when did you know that you were meant to spread the word of the heaven to everyone? I've also heard that you can heal. My heart began to race as I awaited his response. Jesus got quiet for a moment. My mother always knew I had a spiritual mission, but she wanted me to enjoy a normal childhood. Like any child, I was curious about the world around me. I had a spiritual friend who was always by my side, a comforting presence with light hair who appeared whenever I needed her. My brothers grew jealous when they realized I had a spiritual calling, but we remained close. Some of my best memories are of us wrestling and play fighting with sticks. My father believed it was important to learn a trade, so my brothers and I often practiced building things for the house. My brother Thomas was much better at it than I was. I once made a baby bed only to discover it was too wobbly to use. We all had a good laugh over it. It was all in good fun. My childhood was largely uneventful, just as my parents intended. They knew that my spiritual journey would be extraordinary, so they felt a quiet, sheltered life was what I needed. They protected me, fearing I might leave home too soon. I practiced the Jewish faith with my family and was held unaccountable for my mistakes, like any child. I vividly remembered the time I was caught in a lie. It never happened again after that. My father had a whip, and I thought it stung. It seemed to pain him just as much as it did me. As my brothers found companionship, I began to feel lonely. My mother, always supportive, understood that everyone needs someone. One day, she introduced me to a local woman named Sahara. She was beautiful with a gracious heart, and we talked for hours. It felt as though our energies were deeply connected. Later, as I sat in meditation, I wondered if I should pursue this relationship, knowing my spiritual calling was ahead. I prayed for the heavens for guidance, and the message I kept hearing was, follow your heart. When I spoke to my mother about it, she assured me that I deserved the happiness and joy that love can bring. Sahara understood my spiritual path and promised to support me. She told me that when the angels called me to change the world, she would let me go without hesitation. My parents welcomed her and told me that Sahara would live with them. Our wedding ceremony was rooted in Jewish tradition. Sahara glowed with happiness, and I knew we had many joyful memories ahead of us. As a special gift, my mother gave us small wooden statues of ourselves, beautifully crafted, her precise wood carving skills. Sahara and I cherished these pieces deeply. We began to hear the other brothers coming back to camp, and Jesus stopped and told Shaloma and me to get some rest. As I lay on my bed, gazing up at the stars, I couldn't help but feel they each had a story to tell. The same sky had watched over those who had come before us, connecting us across time. I wondered what my story would be. What would the stars say about me after I was gone? The next morning, after a plate full of fruit and twigs, I began to feel more like myself again. The bruises on my face had faded, but I still felt the deeper battle scars. I knew it would take time to fully heal. My thoughts wandered to the stranger who had attacked me. I wondered why he carried so much anger. God gave us emotions to experience life, but what if these emotions hurt mankind? I may never understand why he felt the need to harm me. I also wondered if people were angry with Jesus because he embodied love. Just as I was lost in thought, Paul interrupted me. Sarah, do you want to go to town with me to let others know that we will be moving west of town? My heart yearned to be with others and to have purpose. Yes, I'll go. Thank you. Paul and I left while the others prepared to move everything west of town. He was kind and respectful, but quiet and often kept to himself. I had to ask him questions just to learn more about him. This curiosity of mine often got me into trouble as a woman, especially in time when we were expected to serve men and make us as little eye contact as possible. But I couldn't help my fascination with the world and the people in it. My father indulged my questions no matter how silly they seemed, and he honored my curiosity. So naturally, I asked Paul many questions. He told me about his rough childhood, how his father was strict and demanding with rigid rules that Paul could never seem to live up to. Despite his best efforts, he never felt like he could please his father, but he learned early on how to be tough. Paul also shared that he had been forced into a marriage without love, a relationship built more on survival than affection. But when he met Jesus, he felt a new calling in life. Before leaving his family, he made sure they were taken care of. As harsh as our society could be, people relied on their support system not just for comfort, but for survival. Trust was essential. Without it, your life could be at risk. Thankfully, the market was filled with familiar faces, people I knew and trusted. Paul encouraged me to reach out to the women I knew, inviting more of them to join us around the campfire. I spoke to many, but some were too afraid to come. Paul told several of them I would be speaking from the heavens that night. Hearing this made me nervous, but I placed my trust in Jesus and the supportive community gathered around the campfire. Paul looked at me and said it was time for a break. He found a spot in a beautiful garden and promised to return with food. As I sat there, I felt an overwhelming sense of peace, surrounded by the vibrant life all around me. When Paul returned, I was eager to talk and ask questions, but after he blessed the food, he gently told me we needed to sit in silence. Smiling, he explained that sitting in peace would help him receive messages from heaven. The food felt sacred, and it was a comfort to share a moment of quiet with someone, unburdened by words. When we returned, everyone was meditating in silence, their faces radiating peace. Paul gestured for me to sit and join them in meditation. I closed my eyes, but my mind was restless, filled with constant thoughts. Suddenly, I sensed someone beside me. When I opened my eyes, I saw it was Jesus. He had sat next to me, gently instructed me to breathe with him. He counted as we took deep breaths, even holding them for a moment. Gently, I felt my body begin to relax. Jesus placed his hand over my heart and told me to breathe into it, explaining that the heart as a messenger was much to say, but I needed to clear my mind, truly hear it. He continued to sit by my side, and I think it was the most blissful state I had ever experienced. Tears welled up in my eyes, and Jesus tenderly held my hand. After a few moments, Jesus announced that it was time to move on to the next camp. I still had my cart, which was filled with supplies. As we walked, I found myself alongside Shaloma, unable to keep pace with the men. Curious, I asked Shaloma where she was from. She shared that she lived in a small town east of the mountains where she had cared for her mother and father. Though she never married, a situation often seen as disgrace, she remained devoted to her parents until she met Jesus. Shaloma knew in her heart that she wanted to follow Jesus as he spread the good news to everyone. Her parents supported her decision, though her younger sister, who saw Shaloma as a mother figure, was reluctant to let her go. They invited Jesus to dinner and enjoyed his visit. During the meal, he asked her parents for their blessing, explaining that he needed women to be part of his camp festivities, emphasizing the importance of having women present at the gatherings. Her parents were thrilled that Shaloma would be part of something so meaningful. As we walked, my feet began to ache, and Shaloma kindly offered to heat water and massage my feet when we reached the camp. Grateful, I held her hand and felt truly blessed. Once we arrived at the camp, we set down all the supplies and began setting up just as we had at the previous camp, including the fire. Shaloma got a bucket full of water and told me to sit near the fire. After cleansing the water, we drank it. Then Shaloma poured some of the water into a large bowl and gently placed my feet into it. The sensation was pure bliss. She closed her eyes and began to pray, her words soon shifting into a different language. As she massaged my feet, I felt a surge of energy course through my legs. I closed my eyes, absorbing the experience. The next thing I knew, I woke up wrapped in blankets. As I looked around, I noticed new people had arrived at the camp, including an older gentleman being carried by his sons. Jesus encouraged his brothers and sisters to nourish their bodies, and everyone began eating the sweet berries. I sat down beside Shaloma to thank her. Jesus then stood in front of the fire, welcoming everyone and inviting them to gather close. He asked us all to join together as one prayer. Thank you for the fresh air that we breathe, the water that replenishes, the ground that allows us to rest, and the fire that brings our bodies warmth. Please allow me to speak the divine truth as it has always been. Now, everyone, please find your spiritual voice. Everyone began speaking the heavenly languages. It was a beautiful song with different instruments playing one song. After a few minutes, Jesus asked for the elder gentleman to be placed in the front. His son laid him down on my blankets. Jesus said, "Brothers and sisters, we have a brother who needs healing. My healing alone can heal him, but everyone's energy together is so much more spiritual. Let's come together, place a hand on the brother as you continue with your heavenly language." I placed my hand on his shoulder. The man began to shake. He began to groan and growl. Everyone kept speaking their language. Once the man settled down, Jesus said, "May you be healed with love and light. May you release all the burdens you have. Do you accept our love and healing?" The man crying and said, "Yes, I do." Jesus said, "Now rest." As the man rested, Jesus asked if anyone would want to speak a message. He asked if a sister would want to speak. I was grateful, so I told Jesus that I wanted to speak. With my legs shaking, I asked the heavens to speak through me. When I first met my brothers and sisters, I was alone and felt that most people did not want to spend time with me. My only friend, Mary, was always there for me. She was an angel. My brothers and sisters were strangers, but always showed unconditional love. I have learned that I deserve this love because I am part of everyone. We are all one. I know my truth and my purpose now. I want to help Jesus spread the heavenly messages for people to hear. I feel safe. I am woman and this could be dangerous, but the divine's love, I'm willing to take a chance. My brothers and sisters, let's help Jesus connect with the people who need to know the heavenly truths. Jesus came over to thank me. He looked around to everyone and stated, as Sarah said, let's plant our seeds and witness our garden grow. As the fire got lower, people began to leave. Many of our brothers left to help others get home safely. I had so many questions for Jesus and hoped we would have a chance to talk. I waited by the fire until Jesus was alone. He actually walked towards me. Do you have any questions for me? I could feel my jaw drop. Yes, how did you know? He laughed and told me that he is told things that are important. He sat next to me and I asked him where his wife was. Jesus smiled at this question. My wife, Sahara, is living with her family and our children growing up so quickly. Yes, my family is doing well. I asked a brother to send them messages on my behalf, ensuring that they are in a safe place. My spiritual quest will be dangerous, and I want to make sure they are protected. Sahara always knew I would have to leave, just as many of our brothers have left their families behind. We are meant to have human experiences, and I was meant to grow up in a Jewish home to live a normal childhood and to have a family of my own so I could relate to others on this mission. It's never easy to leave your family, but knowing they are safe is a true gift. As the time for my departure drew closer, the angels began visiting me more often. To prepare for my journey, I found myself meditating more frequently, which led to a deep spiritual awakening. I started having visions of what was destined to come. I felt both honored and grateful to know I would help bring about change in the name of love. The angels revealed that I would channel messages from heaven and possess healing and magical abilities. These abilities are available to all humans, but they must choose to embrace them. Many of our ancestors once understood how to harness these gifts, but over time, learning and knowledge began to overshadow their importance. Our ancestors wanted humans to be in charge of their abilities. This would happen over time. Learning will take place with each generation. The children will not only learn from their parents, but they will change things for progress. Each new tool will be channeled through its marker. Sarah, you have to witness my teachings and the events that occur. Most of my followers are men. We need the eyes of a woman to witness these events as well. Try to write as much as you can. Other sisters who are with us are doing the same. For now, get some rest. It's going to be another busy day. Reflections on Chapter 5. How does Jesus' conversation with Sarah about his childhood and spiritual mission provide insights into his human experience and divine calling? What does this reveal about the balance between living a normal life and fulfilling a spiritual destiny? Number 2, Sarah's growing sense of purpose and her acceptance of her new role is a significant moment in this chapter. How does this transition reflect the idea of divine calling and the responsibilities that come with spiritual awakening? Number 3, the chapter highlights the importance of silence and meditation, particularly in the scenes with Paul and later with Jesus. How does the practice of silence contribute to spiritual growth and the ability to receive divine guidance? Number 4, Jesus speaks about the need for both men and women to witness and document his teachings. How does this reflect the importance of diverse perspectives in his spiritual journeys and the role women in spiritual communities? Number 5, the scene where Jesus heals the elderly man with the help of the entire community emphasizes the power of collective spiritual energy. How does his communal approach to healing reflect the broader spiritual principle of interconnectedness? Number 6, Sarah's speech about feeling safe and accepted within the community, despite the dangers she faces as a woman, is a powerful moment. How does this experience illustrate the role of faith and community in overcoming fear and societal limitations? Number 7, in this chapter, Sarah wonders about the motivations behind the actions of her attacker and the emotions that harm mankind. How does this reflection on human emotions and their impact on others contribute to the chapter's spiritual themes? Number 8, Jesus shares with Sarah the importance of her role in witnessing and recording his teachings, particularly as a woman. How does this task of witnessing and documentation serve as a spiritual responsibility? And what lessons can be drawn from it for our own lives? Number 9, the imagery of planting seeds and witnessing the garden grow is used by Jesus to describe the spreading of spiritual teachings. How does this metaphor resonate with the chapter's themes of growth, transformation, and the spread of divine truth? Number 10, Jesus' conversation with Sarah about his family and sacrifices made for his spiritual quest highlights the challenges of balancing human relationships with the divine missions. How does this discussion deepen your understanding of the personal sacrifices involved in spiritual leadership?